Marketing Standard 3 is to acquire foundational knowledge of marketing concepts to understand the scope and impact of the marketing on the economy. 3.4 is to compare and contrast the effects of marketing activities. 3.6 is to explain the role of situational analysis in the marketing planning process. 3.8 is to relate the marketing concepts to customers' needs and wants. Marketing Standard 7 is to acquire foundational knowledge of marketing information and research to understand the scope of business and marketing decisions. 7.3 is to describe a type of marketing research. 7.7 is to identify data monitored for marketing decision making. Marketing Standard 9 is to employ processes and techniques to develop, maintain, and improve a product and/or service mix to utilize market opportunities. 9.2 is to explain how businesses determine products and/or services to produce and sell. And 9.6 is to explain the nature of corporate branding.
For our project, we wanted to determine the following. Why is it important for a product to have a specific brand, package, and label? What is the difference between a name brand product and a generic product? Why do companies offer generic products for sale? And finally, are name brand products always better than generic products?
Blind taste test project instruction. Your class will be conducting a blind taste test of name brand products versus generic products. You will work in groups of 4 to 5, and each person will have a different role. Student 1 will set up the products being taste tested and make sure student 2 knows which cup is generic and which is name brand. Student 2 will conduct the blind taste test and record the response on the form and on the board. Student 3 will sanitize, clean the area after each use. Student 4 will be the supervisor and should make sure all students are doing their job in addition to helping where necessary. All students should wear gloves. Students who do not do their share will have grade deductions. Students not in the testing group will be the taste testers and should wait patiently for their turn to taste and lead. All students will record and turn in the data for all classes in their own spreadsheet. Step 1. Place 2 cups on the napkin behind the triboards. Make sure there is a label for name brand and for generic placed on the table for only the group members to see, and fill 1 cup with the name brand product and the other cup with the generic product. Straws may be used if the tester wants one. Step 2. On the form provided, record whether each student tasting the products like the taste of the name brand product or the generic product best. Record this on the board as well.
The first one you had on.
The first one was better?
Which one you like better? The first one.
Heavy. Okay.
Her?
The first one.
Okay.
Alright, bro, that one hot.
So which one you like better?
The first one.
Once all taste tests are complete, every student should complete the Excel spreadsheet provided by inputting the number for their class periods and for the other marketing principal class periods, first, second, and third into the correct column. Formulas have already been put into the spreadsheet for you, so all you will need to do is download the spreadsheet, enter the numbers, and create a chart for each class and for all classes combined. The teacher will walk the class through this process. Make sure you have entered data for all class periods for each type of drink tested, and input a 3D bar chart for each class period and a separate one for all classes combined. You will need to select the correct data to make sure your chart contains the correct information. See the examples provided below and use the Excel spreadsheet provided below.
Based on the data, was there a preference between generic drinks and name brand drinks? In my conclusion, according to the data, the taste testers preferred generic drinks over the name brand drinks by approximately 9%. A lot of the people chose generic drinks over the name brand drinks. Most of the class felt like they already knew the off-brand soda would be nasty, but the results showed otherwise.
What did this project have to do with branding? The project indicates the significance of acknowledging a certain brand. It shows that name brands may not be the best way to go. That just because it has a fancy name on it or is more known or expensive does not mean that it is better. The project was a representation of how you could have the same product, but one is better and more expensive, or better and cheaper in some situations.
It shows that people choose the product they are comfortable with, but if they don't know what it is, they will choose the generic. The project shows that branding is very powerful because the product that was known has more sales, but the generic version with not as big of a brand is actually the better option, taste and price-wise.
What did you learn from this branding project? I learned that branding plays a huge part in product sales. I learned that being blinded prevents bias. Tasting a name brand product and generic. It's generally difficult to differentiate between the two.
I learned that we should not always stereotype generic brands as being bad tasting because, as we can see, sometimes they may taste better than your usual big name brand products.
Compare and contrast the first, second, and third period class outcomes of the taste test. Comparing all classes. All classes had higher generic numbers except my first period class. Looking at the data between all classes, it's clear that the overall numbers of students prefer generic brands.
Companies offer generic products for sale because a typical generic product yields a higher profit for the store, even when it sells for a lot less than a similar national brand. That's because there are no marketing or advertising costs involved, and while the companies invest a good amount of money in creating private labels. Name brands aren't always better, but they are usually considered for choice because the name brand is familiar. Store brand products are initially chosen by consumers because they are cheaper, and when people see things are cheaper, they will sometimes buy them over the similar name brand product.